What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NBA Tuesday, March 21st. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top picks for today's NBA slate. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, we have a 6-game NBA slate tonight. So let's take a look at the point guard position. So I like CJ McCollum from the New Orleans Pelicans playing the San Antonio Spurs, who have the absolute worst defense overall. They give up the third most fantasy points to opposing point guards. CJ McCollum has averaged 38.6 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 35 minutes per game with a 27% usage rate. Now, he's projected at 37.4 fantasy points here tonight, but I think he can score 40 fantasy points or more in this matchup, get you over 5 times value. He's 8,000 DraftKings salary, 700 more on FanDuel, and Vegas thinks there's going to be 235.5 points scored in this game, and CJ McCollum has scored 51, 32, and 30 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 39, 38, and 36 minutes. So he's playing monster minutes. He has a fantastic matchup in a high-scoring game. And CJ McCollum has scored 71, 16, and 52 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Spurs. So I just have a feeling this is going to be a breakout game for CJ McCollum. I think he's going to put up 45 to 50 plus fantasy points in this one. So I like CJ McCollum here versus the San Antonio Spurs. Now I continue to like Russell Westbrook from the LA Clippers playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the 7th worst defense overall, give up the 10th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Russell Westbrook has averaged 36.7 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 29% usage rate. He's projected at 35.4 fantasy points here tonight, and that's 5 times value. He's 7,100 DraftKings salary, 100 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 237 points scored in this game, and Russell Westbrook has scored 39, 33, and 42 fantasy points in his last 3 games, playing 33, 37, and 27 minutes. So his minutes and his production have been trending up. So I like Russell Westbrook, who scored 49, 29, 42, and 58 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Thunder, here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, another point guard that I like is Malcolm Brogdon from the Boston Celtics playing the Sacramento Kings, who have the 10th worst defense overall, give up the 8th most fantasy points to opposing point guards. Now, I pretty much like all the Boston Celtics here tonight, so I'm not going to go over all of them, but I think they're all priced right or even underpriced a little bit for this matchup. It's going to be a high-scoring game. Vegas thinks there's going to be 238.5 points scored in this game. Malcolm Brogdon scored 29 fantasy points last game in 30 minutes, and he needs about 29 fantasy points to get you 5 times value or more. He's 5,800 DraftKings salary, 200 more on FanDuel. And he scored 24 and 46 fantasy points in his last 2 games versus the Kings. But I really do like pretty much all of the Celtics here tonight, so I won't go over all of them. I will mention them as we go, though. So I like Malcolm Brogdon here versus the Sacramento Kings. Before I continue with the picks,
I'm excited today because we added a new contest for everyone watching.
If you want to enter the drawing for $25 PayPal,
all you need to do is like this video, hit that subscribe button, and make a quick comment below to be entered into the drawing. We'll reply to a random comment and let you know that you won.
And then we'll send you $25 PayPal.
So it's that easy, and we pick a new winner every Saturday and announce them in our video. So get your comment in now so I can add another entry for you.
Okay, let's take a look at the shooting guard position. So I like, here's an interesting shooting guard here. Also available at the small forward position. Now, his last couple of games have been really good. So he's playing a ton of minutes the last 3 games. We'll take a look at his last 5. It looks like his, let's just take a look at his scoring log here. So he's been playing 30 minutes or more for the last 4 games in a row. So take a look at Rodney McGruder from the Detroit Pistons playing the Atlanta Hawks. And it's because Bojan Bogdanovic is out. So he's got an Achilles injury, and Isaiah Livers also questionable. So it looks like Rodney McGruder going to get plenty of minutes here tonight. So he's from the Detroit Pistons playing the Atlanta Hawks, who have the 6th worst defense overall, give up the absolute most fantasy points to opposing shooting guards, also eligible at the small forward position. So Rodney McGruder has scored 35, 46, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 34, and 38 minutes. So I got him projected at 30 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.3 times value. He's $5,700 DraftKings salary, $700 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 238.5 points scored in this game. And Rodney McGruder has scored 35, 46, and 26 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 34, and 38 minutes. And he had a 20% usage rate last game, 19% the game before that. So he's playing monster minutes. He's been super productive the past couple of games. So I think he might be underpriced just a little bit for his role in the minutes that he's going to play here tonight, in a good matchup as well. So I like Rodney McGruder here versus the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, let's take a look at the small forward position. So I mentioned I like all the Celtics. I like Jaylen Brown from the Boston Celtics here at $9,000 DraftKings salary, $500 more on FanDuel. Just wanted to bring him up. I like him. And then moving down here, if you want to save some salary at this position, take a look at Franz Wagner from the Orlando Magic playing the Washington Wizards, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall. They've been pretty good defending opposing small forwards. Franz Wagner has averaged 31 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 33 minutes per game with a 24% usage rate. He's projected at 30.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's just about 5 times value. He's $6,300 DraftKings salary, $400 more on FanDuel. And Vegas thinks there's going to be 227 points scored in this game. And Franz Wagner has scored 45, 32, and 32 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 37, 32, and 35 minutes. And he's got a good track record here versus the Wizards. He scored 27, 49, 40, and 40 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Wizards. So I like Franz Wagner here versus the Washington Wizards.
Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all of our DFS tools for all sports. You can try the Position Optimizer, where you can see the top players ranked for each position. And we added a new Player Trends tool, where you can see the top salary differences between FanDuel and DraftKings. It's a really good tool to help you pick out value for the site that you're playing on. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups.
Okay, let's take a look at the power forward position. So you got Jason Tatum sitting at 10,500 DraftKings salary, 300 more on FanDuel. One of these Boston Celtics is absolutely going to go off tonight. So I do like all of them. I'm probably just going to mix them up into my lineups here tonight. So at the power forward position, well, I like John Collins from the Atlanta Hawks playing the Detroit Pistons, who have the second worst defense overall, give up the third most fantasy points to opposing power forwards, and John Collins has averaged 26.4 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 30 minutes per game with a 17% usage rate. He's projected at 25.6 fantasy points here tonight. That's 4.7 times value. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary, same price on FanDuel. So I love that FanDuel price. We know Vegas thinks there's going to be 238.5 points scored in this game. And John Collins, he scored 25, 34, and 15 fantasy points in the last 3 games. So a wide range of outcomes there. He played 27, 28, and 27 minutes. So he's averaging 0.89 fantasy points per minute on the season. But the reason that I like this pick, he does have a good track record here versus the Pistons. He scored 34, 25, 42, and 35 fantasy points in his last 4 games versus the Pistons. So I like John Collins here versus the Detroit Pistons. Okay, moving on to the center position, I like Ivica Zubac from the LA Clippers playing the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have the 7th worst defense overall. They're middle of the pack defending opposing centers. Ivica Zubac has averaged 28 fantasy points per game on the season, playing an average of 29 minutes per game with a 15% usage rate. He's projected at 32 fantasy points here tonight. That's 5.4 times value. Only 5,900 DraftKings salary. He is 1,000 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 237 points scored in this game. Ivica Zubac has scored 33, 41, and 45 fantasy points in the last 3 games, playing 33, 27, and 30 minutes. So I think he's a good pick here tonight, especially on DraftKings. Take a look at this. He scored 41, 46, and 34 fantasy points in his last 3 games versus the Thunder. So I like Ivica Zubac, especially on DraftKings here versus the Oklahoma City Thunder.
If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smiggity smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NBA slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.